All right, so we're gonna do. I just want to have. I like to have a few things I want to talk about first. We'll do rapid fire questions and then talk about a few things, and then at the end, I want to kind of go through and like do like a tier or ranking list of all the ranch era. Um, Actually, it's ranch era events that
Oh,
happened
yeah.
like in the 2007, 2008, and 2009 were the years at the ranch, and we'll go through and like rank all those.
All
So
of
we'll
them
start
or
with
just like random ones you picked?
just all of them from
Oh,
ranch era because there's only like 20 or something like that.
2007 to
So
2000. Yeah.
yeah, 2007 to 2009. Okay, so let's start with the rapid fire.
Okay.
Tia coming back this year. Do you think she'll win it?
Yeah.
Crossover doubles coming back. Do you like or dislike?
I like
Okay. Which is more CrossFit, running or a snatch?
running.
Games athletes not putting their workouts up on their vlogs or anything like that. Good or bad for the sport?
I say bad.
Okay, now I want to go through and talk about each one kind of quick,
Yeah.
and then we'll get into the ranking thing.
Mm-hmm.
The first one I want to start with, you said running was more CrossFit than a snatch. Why did you
Yeah.
say that?
I mean, I wouldn't die on that hill by any means, but I just feel like I agree with the sentiment people talk about, like running being the most like universal, or when people talk about running being the most universal aspect of fitness, like that's just what like your body is made to do, right? From like, I hate, it's kind of cliche and people talk about like ancestrally, but it really is like since the beginning of time, like humans have had to run. And so it's literally like the most foundational thing
It's
you
like
can
our
do is
base
like
movement.
is a human, right? And then if CrossFit's all encompassing fitness, everything you can do with yourself and your like physiological capacities, then running, like I feel like has to be the like most encompassing to what you're capable of. What do you
So
think?
what if I said the same question, a snatch or rowing? Would you have said snatch?
I would say snatch. Yeah, just because um, like obviously the movement pattern might not be the exact same, but like just in life, if you ever have to like pick something up and like, you know, get it overhead, I mean, that's a dumb, yeah, I don't know. What do you think on that one?
I think that a snatch is more CrossFit than running
Because we
because I
see it
think
more often or just because, like, why?
because so like if the idea is to get fit or increase your work capacity, I think snatch will do that better than running because someone can be really good at running and they'll still lack in the flexibility aspect, they'll still lack in the accuracy aspect, they'll still lack in you could get pretty strong just sprinting, but they'll lack some upper body strength. Some of those things that I think a snatch is like pretty all encompassing in terms of you have to be flexible, you have to be accurate, you have to have good balance, and you have to have like a lot of things that I think you don't get if you're just doing running. So I think a snatch is more all encompassing. So I think it's like more well rounded just as a standalone movement.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I get where you're coming from in that. I feel like it is kind of like answering a different question though. I keep losing my train of thought. Sorry.
Well, because I'm saying if you're saying which one's more CrossFit, then I would argue that if the goal of CrossFit is increased work capacity, then I think a snatch, if you could only train one or the other, I think a snatch is going to increase your work capacity more than a uh, running would.
I always like just think back to the pyramid, like just like metabolic conditioning in terms of training.
But you can get that with a snatch.
Um, but to the same level though. I mean, obviously you're like that's the beauty of like the movements we do is they cover so many different like areas of fitness, right? But like, am I gonna get the same metabolic capacity? And like, it's just like when we talk about minimum effective dose. Like when you improve in an area such as like running, like how much like more it's going to elevate all the other areas of your fitness.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, I get your point. I don't know.
Because like you could get some conditioning, like especially in the like longer time domains with running that you wouldn't like you realistically couldn't hit with a snatch.
Yeah. Do you feel like there's something to be said about like time spent of like, I don't know, there's so many areas you could go down of like
you could do double Isabel, but like, and that would get you pretty fit, but you're not going to get like that 20 plus. You can't just do snatches for 20 minutes. I mean, I guess you could, but.
And are we talking like, but if we're like trying to like get this to like as many people as possible, like to expand their fitness, right? And it's like you have to start thinking about like the barrier of entry to like learning the snatch and like think of how long it will take for someone to be able to like snatch effectively and also like get this as many stimuluses out of doing a snatch as possible. Like they wouldn't be able to even like go heavy for like such a long time. And like,
no.
I mean, it just depends like the context of the question. Like when I'm thinking of it, like if I had to like pick for like gen pop, like for them to either be able to do running or snatching, like I guess it's not necessarily the question you asked me though, but in that terms, I would say.
Well, I mean, we could go down that like.
No,
path.
I mean,
so
I don't
like
know.
you
I
have,
guess I'm just always in the mindset of like us just talking about like, just what CrossFit is and like what it should be. I thought for sure you would have said running, but now I guess I get why you said snatching.
I just say a snatch because I think it encompasses like to me running would be similar to saying that like crossover double unders is more CrossFit than a snatch because like crossover double under is just so high on the skill and accuracy. It's so like swayed towards that you can miss a lot of other stuff. And I feel like running is the same. It's so skewed towards like endurance or that specific movement pattern. Whereas I feel like snatch just encompasses so much.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like my mindset is kind of skewed because I feel like I see people like we know the sport of CrossFit is biased towards weightlifting, especially compared to like something like gymnastics. It's like I feel like I see a lot of people out there who still put too many like eggs in the basket for something like weightlifting, like snatching, where they need to just like do more running because like they're just poor and like their snatching wouldn't even like get affected if they just like did more running.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So second question, spin-off question. You have an old lady. She doesn't work out. You have one movement you can train her in. Which one would you do? Like you can only train her using one single movement.
I'd probably use a snatch, yeah, because like they just need like resistance training in some form, just because osteoporosis and just like their bones are so brittle and they need just muscle mass.
Yeah, I think also like the flexibility and like balance and stuff that you get from that.
Yeah,
you is just irreplaceable when it comes to old people. Now, if I flip that question and you have a games or like semifinals athlete and you can only train for the next year using one of the two movements, which one would you say?
You've already like, this isn't taking away any like training history you've had previously, obviously.
Yeah, like it would be like, let's just say they're already well-rounded. Like they're not super skewed towards one or the other. They're just like already a pretty well-rounded athlete and they only have one to train with.
And this is going to like training for semifinals or training for the games?
Just training to get better.
It's just so independently. Honestly, dude, I'd probably say snatching again. Like I wanted to say running. Yeah. I wanted to say running, but it's just like if you're not doing the snatching and you're not, I don't know. You could
that's
cover those areas.
That's another argument towards snatching is because running is like so much of like our like base movement that it's like it's kind of easy to go back to compared to like a snatch. Like if you're not training the snatch, it kind of goes away.
Right.
And that goes away, but like it's not something that is like our part of our base whatever.
Yeah, and I'm not even saying like in like snatching wouldn't even have to be like tested at whatever you were like if you were to go to your next competition, but obviously just all the areas that snatching would
Even like
like
gymnastics.
you're strengthening your overhead position all the time, like your core strength's still going to be up there on par because you've been lifting,
The
heavy
hip
loads, and it's
extension.
like you're hinging, like you're hitting all the muscle groups that you need to and stuff. So it's like, yeah, like you probably need to be doing snatching.
Yeah.
And just do hella light barbell cycling. To
Yeah.
just get the
Like
freaking
Randy type stuff.
endurance. Yeah, dude, just every minute on the minute hitting just like 10 touch and go snatches at just 95 pounds for 10 minutes. That
Yeah.
would suck.
Yeah. Okay. Next one. Games athletes not putting their workouts up. This has been driving me insane the last like 2 years, and it really like reached a point for me when they had the road to the games this year, and they
Yeah.
were like showing like training montages of them, but like they weren't even putting the workouts up.
Dude, it always is driving me nuts too. I've always said this, like when they're posting content or like even if an athlete's on a podcast and like if someone's asking them the questions about like any metrics or just workout numbers, and they'll just like flutter around the question and not answer it, and I'm like, why? It literally does not make any difference whatsoever if an athlete knows that your PR mile time is a 5:20, because when it comes game day, it's like they're not defending you, right? It's literally like you against yourself. So it's only what you can do. So I literally just never get that.
Especially stuff that's like it's not like it's a quarterfinals where like they're releasing their workouts early. It's like their own training pieces. Like why would they gatekeep that?
And they gatekeep like their maxes and like what it's like to me, it just like it feels like it's soft to me. Like they think like if their competitors know that like what their metrics are, that it's like a mental advantage on them, and they can like try to chase it, and like they can in their heads it's like a one up to know like, oh, like I'm that person's better because this metric's higher, which is just stupid to me. I just don't get it.
It doesn't make sense. Like, okay, you're like you're some athlete, and then you're like, oh, Justin Medeiros can snatch 295. Like, is that going to change the way you're doing things?
Right.
Like, why would you not release your workouts like that?
Yeah, or it's like if I'm a competitor, in anything, it's like like I'll just do the mile thing. It's like, oh, I only have like a 5:40 mile. Like I can't let people know that like I don't have a sub 5:30 mile. It's only 5:40. Like, what does that do? That they know? Yeah. It's like it just doesn't do anything. So I don't know.
And like you said, if it was like basketball where it's like, oh, I can't dribble to my left hand. Like you don't want your competitor to know that. Yeah. But like you're not going to affect somebody on their mile time.
Right. Yeah. And I think it kind of stems a lot from the era of like Matt Frazier, like the culture, like his era, like everything he did was just like in the dark. And so I feel like that was just kind of the culture. People were just like, oh, everything just needs to be kind of like underground and like just like, and people don't know what you're doing. And it's just, I don't know. Yeah. It's kind of annoying though. I just think it negatively hurts CrossFit because it's just like if there was more content out there and like they were getting more eyeballs on like putting out everything they did and stuff. And I feel like it started to shift a little bit. I feel like because I just watched Hiller's video with Hopper and Pepper today. Mm-hmm. And like he posted a couple of days ago. Did you watch it?
I haven't watched it yet.
It literally is just a video of them doing Metcons, and it's just like 3 back-to-back Metcons, like 1-to-1 rest in between. And it's just like their full workouts. And like as I was watching it, I was just kind of like, I don't think I've ever just like there's like you never see videos of games athletes just like doing full workouts because they're just afraid to release the whole thing. Like you just don't ever see. And so I was like, I liked watching it because I was like, oh, it's nice to see like the intensity these guys move at, and it's cool to see. And like, is that what they're afraid of? Like they don't want people to like know like how well the intensity they train at to like people trying to match. Like I don't know. Like that's just like questions I was asking myself, but it was dope. Like I was like, yeah, good to watch because I don't feel like I get to watch people hit like full workouts and see what their training looks like. And if they did it, I just think it's only beneficial.
Yeah, and like when I started, dude, like my favorite thing was just like seeing all the different like movement combinations, rep schemes, like that really like I remember in like the earlier like Road to the Game stuff, just like watching all those and just be like, "Ooh, I'm gonna do this like tomorrow. I'm gonna do this workout next week." Like it just got me so hyped up. Like
Oh yeah.
and just not like now they're like, "Oh, Jason Hopper's like working out, but he's not gonna like share his workout."
Yeah, and
It's just like I don't know, it just bothers me.
it was on one of the podcasts with those guys, Hopper, Medeiros, and Pepper, and they were talking about, maybe I'm thinking of some. They were talking about wall balls or something, like max set of wall balls.
Mhm.
Maybe they were honest about this one. Maybe they did give an exact rep count.
Yeah. I just
Sorry, I'm muted during that, right? Like you can hear me.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, you're
sorry.
good.
Well, I was saying, like, they're talking about like a max wall ball set. Maybe they did say it, but maybe I'm thinking of something else. But I remember, I swear, at least one of them was just like not saying what they got with like a max set with 30 pounds. And I'm just like, who cares? Like, just because yours is 90 and you think someone else is going to do it, test it, and they get 105, and it's just like, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it's just stupid. I'm actually curious though, how many do you think you could get with a 30-pound ball? And did they say how many they got?
It was a lot. I see. That's what I said. I think they actually might have said that, but it was a lot. It was like just under 100. Like I swear, 80,
Holy crap,
like 80ish.
bro.
I
I don't
actually
even
did
think
it.
I could get 50.
Oh, dude, I did it one time. We did it like a year ago. Adrian had us do it, and like asterisk by it, I definitely was like not in the mindset to do it, and I was soft and definitely quit way before my max. I think I hit like just over 40, and I was like just kind of tapped out because I was just being a puss, like straight up. I think Mike did it and did like 60 or something though. It was crazy. But I remember he had us do Karen with a 30 to an 11-foot target. That was so hard. Like literally after the first set, I had to jump every rep. Like my feet were coming off the ground, and I was doing like sets of 7. It was disgusting.
That's crazy. I don't even think I could do Karen without getting rhabdo right now.
Dude, we did this last week because we've been doing benchmark workouts every Wednesday for like the past 6 weeks. We have like
I saw you did Kalsu.
Dude, we did Kalsu. I've done it once before. Dude, it was so bad. Like I haven't been training like my normal training. I'm just hitting classes and stuff. And I've been going hard in the classes, but like volume tolerance and just it's not the same. And like I knew it was gonna be hard, and like game strategy wise, like going into it, I just was like, oh, I think I'm gonna go big to start while I'm fresh because like it's gonna hurt regardless type of deal. And I was dumb. That was a bad idea. I did like 16 and 14 the first 2 rounds. Which is so dumb. Dude, it hurt so bad.
16 and 14, bro.
Dude, like I could definitely do that workout sub 10, like when I'm like in my training. And I ended up doing it in 12:44.
Tied Brendan.
Well, he tied me. He freaking always does the work. He always does the workouts after me. Freaking punk chases my score. I mean, he
at
should
night
beat me.
at night with the freaking gym locked and all the lights off.
Yeah. I made a rule because like I made a thing that's like you have to do it in a class for it to count. Like you can't just like go do it on your own. Like if you're gonna do a benchmark, but he does go in the very last class in the evening when Brooke's coaching and stuff. I don't really care, but it's just funny. I give him crap about it, but yeah, I was like, dude, that was so dumb. I could have just done 10 every minute and gone under 10.
Yeah,
but my legs after that, dude,
were they like sort of the touch, bro?
Dude, so bad. Like 2 days after, well, the day after, and the next day, like so painful. Today, they're even still so sore. Like I just couldn't believe it, which also brought me to a point, tangent that I don't know if we want to get off of. But you always talk crap about just like thruster races and just like top athletes just like trying to gain the smallest bit of margin. But I was like, dude, I've been doing CrossFit freaking just hardcore for 6 years, and I'm just doing thruster races constantly, right? Like what you compare it to, and then it's like I can still hit a workout with thrusters. It just like this intensity and still just get absolutely demolished. And that's just like the beauty of CrossFit, where it's just like, regardless of like how much you do something, but just like the variance and intensity that changes, like you're still always like making your body adapt in a different way. And it's still like no matter how fit you get, I just feel like
no matter how fit you get, you can ruin yourself with Kalsu.
Bro, dude, it's crazy.
Oh, you just made me think of something. What did you just say?
It's about Kalsu.
Oh, dude, we were talking about how sore you got. I went and played a rugby tournament last Saturday. So we had 4 games, so it was like almost 100 minutes total of game time.
Yeah.
I could not walk for like 4 days, bro. Like my hamstrings right below my butt and like the inside of my thighs were just like so sore. Because like I get like I've gotten so strong from CrossFit, but like no matter how strong you get, like just like you don't sprint that often. So like full sprinting over and over again. I got sore, dude.
Sprinting and cutting just will mess you up.
Anyway. Okay, which that brings me to my next question. What things do you wish that you knew when you started CrossFit? Like things that you know now that if you could go back and tell yourself when you started to like remember these things or keep them in mind, what would they be?
Sorry. Is this like me referencing myself or just like what I would tell other people starting CrossFit?
What would you tell yourself?
Yeah, for me personally, I just think I think I did pretty good for the most part with the information that I had. Hindsight, I just wish I would have just for like what I'm like genetically disposed to, I just wish I would have done more basic like metabolic work. Like just very basic like conditioning, both aerobic and like anaerobic. But just get better, just get a better base to like breathing and just endure like engine work. I think just early on from the get go, I put such an emphasis on like heavy lifting and like the skill of Olis, which is great because you have to have that, right? Like the skill of the Oli, getting really strong, also like developing the gymnastic skills that I did get, but like I just think I kind of I just like didn't put as much of an emphasis on like the metabolic conditioning, which like hierarchy of sport is like the base. I feel like in the last 2 to 3 years, I've had to like really backtrack, almost work backwards to try to develop that, and that's still the biggest thing holding me back is like I just feel like it's underdeveloped. But I mean that's hindsight. Like, and if I would have done that, maybe I'd be the other way around, and I wouldn't be as successful within like areas of lifting, and gymnastics wouldn't be as developed. So it's hard to say. So I'm not like necessarily regretful of it, but if I could say it now, that's what I would do different or say to myself.
For me, I would say probably like one would be like find a gym that you like, because when I started, we had the gym that I was going to shut down because the owner, and then right after we had like the COVID stuff, so the other gym that I moved to shut down. Okay. And then I moved to a gym up in Ogden, which I just hated. And then like eventually when I found Wasatch and started going with you guys, I was like, oh, this is what a gym's supposed to feel like. But I had spent like 3 years just working out on my own and like
you was kind of drifting.
I was just like drifting and all over the place. So that's one.
Culture is huge of what you get involved in.
Like the culture of the gym,
Culture, but also like you want to be a part of a gym that's like knows what the hell they're doing, not just like not just that like to sweat and work out, right?
Yeah. And then the other one would be to freaking stretch and warm up, bro. Like when I first started, I was convinced that warming up was like a liberal lie. And so I just didn't warm up for like the first like 3 or 4 years that I did CrossFit. Like I just never would warm up. I remember like distinctively, I would walk out into my garage, not do a single warm up thing, hop on the bar and start doing chest to bar. Like nothing, just like straight hop on the bar and just start going.
That's insane.
And
you could get away with it because how young you were, but still.
And maybe I could have even kept getting away with it if I had stretched, but I also didn't stretch. And so eventually just like I remember everything just got so tight that was like I couldn't even like lift my arms above my head or like bend over to pick something up half the time because I was just so like stiff and ruined. So I
Yeah,
would
I can
say
get on board
probably
with
just
that. I don't think I put much of an emphasis on like cooling down and just like basic stretching. And
and it doesn't have to be complicated. Like it could just be like literally do 20-second hamstring stretch, 20-second pigeon stretch, like every time after training. It literally doesn't have to be complicated, but I would just do nothing. So I'd say that. I think those are the two main things. Find a gym that I like, and then also just freaking take care of myself. Don't do stupid stuff all the time. I also got like really obsessed with in the very beginning. I got obsessed with like I was like, oh, I want to get stronger. So all I did instead of doing like specific strength work is I would just do metcons, but make them like heavy as shiz. And I
yeah.
think like I just kind of like wasted a lot of time doing that stuff. I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna do instead of like actually working on strength and stuff, I'll just do Fran at like 185.
Yeah, that is, yeah. I think that's a thing a lot of people struggle with is like not understanding how much like you have to specify, even though you don't. Like, you do have to do a lot of specificity work, especially in the realm of Oli. And I think that's partially the sport's fault, like how much emphasis it put on Oli for a long time. And I think we're going away from that, which I think is good, like it being so isolated. Like at most good comps, like you just don't see like a max Oli lift by itself, which I'm in
Yeah,
favor of, and I think you are too.
yeah,
Like just hitting lifts under like not under fatigue. So it's like, but through the era that we came up in and stuff, it was like, yeah, you had to be doing so much Oli work specifically to progress and even compete at a fairly high level.
hmm
Yeah.
yeah. So I just think those are probably the big ones that I would change. All right, this next one's kind of a stupid question, but okay. So you remember how I told you I did that workout when I had COVID and like I was just freaking ruined for like a week.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we know that adaptation from a workout is equal to the intensity of the stimulus. Did I get significantly fitter from working out when I was sick than if I had done that same exact workout when I was not sick? What I mean by that is, did that intensity, the metabolic intensity, because I was sick, make me fitter?
Um,
So
I
if I do a
don't
workout
know
in
the
10
right
minutes,
answer. I would say I'd want to lean towards no. Like I get what you're trying to ask, but I just think
yeah,
like if your body is in such a like what's the word I'm trying to think of? Just like in such a bad state that like you're not ever coming up from it. Sorry.
no, you good. Keeping it real. I'm switching to two long, slow days a week and intensity Monday, Wednesday, Friday to see if I improve. I need an aerobic base.
I always forget that this is live and anybody can jump on. But
I just do intensity every day and never improve. Stuck at like 75th. What do you think about this?
so restart his comments. I want to see.
So he says I need an aerobic base. I just do intensity every day and need to improve. Just stuck at 75th percentile. I'm switching to longer, slower days and intensity Monday, Wednesday, Friday to see if I improve.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to start. I think it's nice. Adrian talks about this a lot. He's made some posts on it before, like what he sees, like burnout a lot of times inside the affiliates and stuff is like people get confused intensity with like max intensity or like high intensity meaning max intensity.
I always say people confuse intensity with metabolic intensity
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
anaerobic like intensity because like a lot of people associate intensity with that like Fran feeling or that like
Right.
assault bike sprint feeling, but intensity can be aerobic intensity, which isn't going to hurt like the way anaerobic intensity does.
I know we've definitely talked about this before on one of our other podcasts, but yeah, like the intensity is whatever the intended stimulus is for the day, right? Like
Yeah.
intensity means a lot more than just like metabolic, like you said. So it comes down to like just obviously it sometimes refers to like the loading of the workouts and stuff, but it's just like hitting like certain movements to like a certain standard, like keeping the quality, like if you just think of something, for example, like a V-up, right? And just like thinking about like how you're doing the movement, not just like being objective with it, but also like the subjectiveness of the quality of movement. Like to me, that's intensity. But yeah, it's all relative.
Or trying to
Intensity
keep
too.
like a Concept 2 bike at like 90 RPM or higher.
Yeah. Yeah, where it's like really low, like it's not destructive on your body, right? And like it's just like, yeah, it's just like just whatever this demand of the stimulus is, and I think that gets confused a lot. Yeah.
Do you think the aerobic base thing has gotten overly exaggerated in CrossFit?
I think a little bit because like just how popular Zone 2 has gotten, like you hear people talk about. It's important, but I think what the problem with it is people have like substituted it for other things when it wasn't supposed to be substitute. It's just supposed to be like on top
additional.
of. Like Zone 2 is super great, especially in terms of like recovery, right? And it's like allowing your body to like flush like nutrients and blood like to your body and like all the oxygen, um, to just be able to train more and like move on to your following training sessions, but it's not necessarily meant to like substitute the priority stuff.
Yeah.
But let's make it simple. I never go past 15 minutes and I don't move around outside of CrossFit. Yeah, I mean, that's a huge problem just kind of in the culture, I feel like, of CrossFit, don't you? Like workouts being 12 minutes and under a lot of time.
Yeah.
I mean, I would still say for the majority of people, I think that well, I don't know.
I think, and this might be just me, like there's no science behind this, but like I think for a lot of people, the like Zone 2 adaptation that they're looking for, you could get with just doing like a 10-minute cool down bike after your Metcon.
Right. And didn't we talk about this, like doing that, or maybe not, I might have been talking about this with Mike, but doing that 3 times a week, and then that's a half hour of that accumulated Zone 2 work. But like, yeah, that's just like questions I try to think of when I'm programming for the affiliate is like people going long, and like how often. Like I just heard, I was listening to Shut Up and Scribble.
Do you think CrossFit's too short? A lot of gyms or a lot of programming?
For sure. Too short, too often. I still think I probably still lean on the side of keeping it more short. I'm not sure like my like finalized percentage would be on that, but I've talked about it before. I just think people can't reach that intensity if they don't ever go short. And I feel like it's hard for people to understand what certain intensity should feel like in terms of metabolic intensity. And that's just like what gets people outside of their comfort zone. Cause like, I feel like that's a huge part of like really buying into the CrossFit methodology is like understanding like what that push should feel like and really like feeling a little bit of the pain cave. But what I was saying is like I was listening to JR and Taylor and Bryson on Shut Up and Scribble, and like I can't remember what JR said, but he says he goes over like 20 minutes. I want to say like 3 times.
I think he said twice a week. Yeah.
Was it twice? I was pretty surprised. I was like, I didn't disagree with it, but I was just kind of like, oh wow, that's a lot.
That is a lot, especially for like a. Did he mean intervals or did he mean like in some form?
Or like always. I thought he meant like straight through, like just moving nonstop. There's probably a little bit of rest. He probably did mean a little bit of both. But yeah, it's a hard balance because if you are going long too much too, like you're not leaving any room for coaching inside the affiliate. And I feel like that's like so big. Like if you're just over programming every day, like let's say like an hour, this is how I think about it when I'm like programming workouts for classes is like sorry, hold on one sec. You can talk.
Very good. Keeping it real. You might be right. I'm open to that. I'm adding drop sets to improve shoulder muscle endurance. Open to adding a bike or row afterwards. Yeah, I started what I started doing was like 3 times a week. I would say like this, and this was my rule. If I like the second I finish the Metcon, I have to hop onto a bike or a rower and just recover on there. And like literally, because right after the Metcon is when I feel just like the worst. And I would just tell myself, just get on there. And even if I'm rowing like 700 cows an hour, just hop straight on after the Metcon and just like go for 5 or 10 minutes until I'm like completely recovered on the row. And it actually like I feel like did help me improve kind of like that slower endurance stuff. So yeah, that's good. I would definitely recommend that. What were we talking about? We're talking about going long. One thing that I think people don't realize too about going long is if you go long and there's limiters, like things that are going to slow you down, that's not necessarily going long in the way that you think. So there's like a lot of ways you could go long while still being heavy. Like if I'm doing a workout and it's got some amount of work that's broken up by just say like a heavy clean, 245, something like that, right? If you're adding that, it's still kind of an interval, but it would still be a continuous workout. So you could be like row this amount and then hit one clean at some heavy weight. And if you do that for 30 minutes, it's still going to be 30 minutes, but it'll be because of the clean, you might have to back off a little bit on the speed on your rower, which will make it a little bit more zone 2E, zone 2 like. So that's something to think about too. What do you think about that, Drake?
Sorry, I've been pretty checked out. You might have to catch me up real quick.
I was saying another way, like another thing is a lot of people would say like zone 2 and they'll try and keep their heart rate in a certain range, right? But I was saying another way you could kind of get that slow twitch, slow whatever is to program something where you're rowing or biking or running or whatever, and you're mixing it with something where you know you have to keep your heart rate at a certain level. So like, let's just say I'm doing 8 rounds, 1K row, 1 clean at 275. Like I know that I'm not going to be able to row outside of a certain pace. So it's like this is just an example, but like you could program something similar to that for your class to where you know they're going to have to self-regulate on that row or whatever. So they're not going to just be like full sending it.
Yeah. Yeah, like specific movements that are like limitations to like going too fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to do it. Yeah, I'm trying to. What was I saying before I hopped off about? Trying to remember. Lost my train of thought. This is something about programming. Shoot. Sorry, I'm frantically kind of. Yeah, this is what I'm dealing with right now. Look at. This is what children yogurt. spreading it in their hair but sorry, frantically kind of all over the place.
No, you're good. I don't remember what we were talking about.
Probably have to wrap up in like the next 5 minutes, so we can finish off like this topic. But yeah, I'm gonna have to bounce, unfortunately.
Okay. Oh, so what I was asking was is the adaptation equal to the stimulus? So, for example, let's say I have for some reason I'm not feeling good one day, and I do this workout in 10 minutes. Am I going to get more of an adaptation than the day I was feeling good and did that exact same thing in 10 minutes?
That's a good question. What I was trying to allude on earlier is like, I think the fitness that's always gained always comes down to your bounce back, and I feel like there's definitely a time frame on like when that bounce back has to be for it to be like a positive increase. Because like, you know, when you look at those charts where it's like I mean, I know we're talking about just overall fitness, but in terms of like hypertrophy, right, like muscle building, like you're gonna dip down, like obviously your muscles get like weaker because they break down, and then like, once they recover, they come up above where that baseline was. So just overall fitness, it's like if you're so beat down, if you're not feeling good or whatever it is, you're sick, and it's like you can't recover to bump back up above that baseline within like a certain time frame, I don't feel like it's a plus. Because does that make sense? What I'm trying to say, like, let's say like if you're too beat down or worn down, like whether it's a sickness or it's just like a full body like fatigue or like an injury or something, and like you're wondering since you pushed harder through that, like I just don't know if your body can like regulate itself in like a recovery, like recoverability to like become like higher than the baseline initially.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
I also just wonder if there's like something of it too is like it feels like intensity, but it wasn't actually like metabolic intensity. It could have been some other form of physical pain that
Right. Like your heart rate was only this high because your lungs are so restricted that it's fighting so hard, but like all the other areas of your like body aren't actually like pushing to like
like I wasn't actually producing that much more like lactate or whatever. I was just like I just felt like it because I was not prepared for it or whatever.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to bounce, dude. My freaking daughter's being psycho, and all right. Sorry we couldn't go any longer. We were having a good talk.
No, that's okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Next time we'll do the ranking.
Yeah, I forgot we started it off as that and then never got to it.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, that's all right. All right. I'll talk to you later.
Peace, dude.
Bye.
Bye.